Hello there. I know you're used to seeing Pastor BJ on these devotionals, but he's given me the opportunity to join you for this week. So we're going to take a little break from Psalm 23, and I'm going to share something with you that I feel like the Lord has put in my heart and life in the recent days. And then next week, Pastor BJ will pick back up with the devotionals from Psalm 23. I hope you've been enjoying them as much as I have. God has truly been speaking through him, and I'm so thankful for Pastor BJ and Pastor Alicia and Marilyn and so many others that are serving so well in these days. It's so great to be serving alongside them. I guess I've been thinking as we've gotten to this point, just on the other side of Easter, about how God meets us not just in the big days, the Easter Sundays of our lives, but he meets us in the times when we don't feel like we're really worshiping, or we're in the middle of being caught up in amazing moments. And I'm reminded of a story that Luke writes in the 24th chapter of his gospel about two men just like that. You might remember the story. They are on their way from Jerusalem, where Jesus has been crucified and buried. They are walking a 7-mile journey towards Emmaus. We commonly refer to this story today as the Emmaus Walk. But on their way, they encounter Jesus. Now, they don't know it's him at first, but they encounter him, and he appears like he's someone who has no idea what's been going on. Much like a story I heard the other day of some fishermen who have been out in the Atlantic Ocean fishing for the last month, and they're coming back to a world that is much different from the one they left a month ago, as all that's been going on in our world has met them at the docks. These guys are amazed that Jesus doesn't know what's been happening in Jerusalem, so they tell him. And as they're telling the story, he obviously recognizes, guys, you know some things, but you really don't understand what's going on. You've missed the point of it all. He wants them to see that although things have not gone the way they thought they would or expected them to, everything has lined up with God's plan for their life. So he listens to them, but then he speaks himself, and he takes them back through the Old Testament. He takes them back from the time of Exodus to that present moment, reminding them of all that the prophets had foretold about the Messiah, and helping them to see that everything that Jesus did and said and taught is exactly what was foretold that he would do. He then joins them for a meal. They invite him in to spend the night, to have a meal with them. And Luke says that while he's breaking bread with them, their eyes are opened, and they finally understand how all of it comes together. It reminds me of some important things in our day for what we're going through and for what these days are like in our world. It gives me hope because it teaches me a couple of things. Number one, we're on the journey, and God is with us. Jesus meets us on the road, and whether we understand or not, or we see things clearly or not, he meets us right where we're at, and he listens to us. He wants to have a conversation with us. He wants us to understand. He wants us to see. It reminds me of the importance of us inviting God in. Cleopas and his companion on this journey invite Jesus in so that they can truly have an encounter with him and understand what's going on. You and I have opportunities now to do that, maybe like we haven't had before, with so many things canceled and schedules all up in the air. I encourage you, invite God in these days. Spend time with him in the Word, in prayer, in ways that you never have before with others, in all the ways we have to connect with one another. Talk about the things of God and be reminded of what He's up to in these days. I would also encourage you to surrender your expectations. Don't let what you thought should happen or what you expected would happen cause you to miss what God is actually doing. And then I would encourage us to pray and seek God's perspective in these days. These are good days. He's changing lives. He's working in lives of people. I've seen it. I've gotten to pray with and be with so many people in various ways over the phone and over the internet and a few in person. It's amazing to me what God is doing. Be encouraged. Let's make the most of these days. Let's let God do everything He wants to do in our lives so that the risen Lord lives and reigns in our hearts. God bless you. Have a great day.